Hello, my fellow weirdlings. It's Margot, and today I'm telling you the absolutely horrible story of the legend of Hans Trapp, the Christmas Scarecrow. If you're ready to get spooked and spine tingled, keep watching. As I previously discussed in my Krampus video, jolly old Saint Nick, aka Santa Claus, has had many malevolent, sadistic, child-punishing sidekicks for as long as he's been giving out gifts to well-behaved children. Wherever there's Christmas joy and cheer, there's also fear and brutal corporal punishment. I don't make the rules. Today, we're going to talk about Hans Trapp, who some say is the most horrible henchman of all. The legend of the Christmas Scarecrow is a gift to us from the French-German border region of Alsace-Lorraine, now called Alsace-Moselle and located in France. It's an area rich in folklore. According to this story, Hans Trapp was a rich, powerful, and widely despised man who lived in the Alsace-Lorraine region in the 1400s, but he wasn't powerful enough for his liking, and was merciless in his quest for more. Local villagers regarded him with fear and loathing. In his insatiable greed, as so many do, he's said to have resorted to making deals with the devil. Upon hearing of this, the Pope himself, as one would expect, excommunicated Trapp. He was, thereafter, exiled from Alsace-Lorraine, and his wealth and lands were confiscated. Left destitute, he constructed a makeshift home in the mountains of Bavaria in Germany. Still plagued with evil desires and with nothing to do but fixate on what he'd lost, he apparently decided the best way forward was to try something new. He developed a hankering for human flesh. In the only logical next step, he disguised himself as a scarecrow by stuffing his clothing with straw. Then he waited by the roadside for a suitable victim to happen by. Finally, one day, a shepherd's 10-year-old son wandered across his path. Trapp, as the fearsome scarecrow, stabbed the boy to death with a sharp stick and dragged him back to his hovel. Trapp sliced the boy into pieces and roasted them, but just before he could finally satisfy his craving for human flesh, he was suddenly struck dead by a lightning bolt from God. Now, I'm no expert on doing God stuff, but wouldn't it have been a bit more beneficial for that lightning bolt to have come before the horrific murder of an innocent child? In some versions of the story, he actually did eat the kid. To this day, children are warned that Trapp's malevolent spirit continues to roam the earth since his death, disguised as a terrifying scarecrow, looking for naughty kids to punish and possibly snack on. As so many horrifying monsters do, somewhere along the way, Hans Trapp teamed up with Santa Claus, but for a seemingly different reason than most of Santa's other goons have. Old Hans the Ghost abuses children, to earn redemption for being abusive while alive. While Santa's giving out gifts to the good kids, Trapp is torturing the naughty ones, to persuade them to mend their wicked ways, be virtuous, and never resort to cannibalism, unlike the choices he made. Perhaps the scariest thing about this legend is that it's actually based on a true story, kind of. It was, at least, inspired by a real person. Hans von Trotha was a wealthy German knight who owned 2 castles on the French-German border. He lived from about 1450 to 1503. Standing 6.5 feet tall, he had a sinister and formidable appearance and the personality to match. He had a well-earned reputation for being an all-around terrible person. Public opinion of him really took a nosedive when he got embroiled in a bitter property dispute against nearby Weissenberg Abbey, and in particular Henry, abbot of the order of Benedictine monks at the abbey, over ownership of property of one of his castles. When the abbot wouldn't concede, von Trotha stopped the water supply to the nearby town of Weissenberg by building a dam at the Weislauter River. When the abbot continued to complain, von Trotha completed the execution of his dastardly plan by having the dam destroyed, which flooded the village of Weissenberg, destroying homes and businesses and ruining their economy. Von Trotha continued to wage a war on the abbey that even the emperor's attempts at intervention couldn't stop. The dispute raged on, and the abbot turned to Pope Innocent VIII for assistance. That was also futile, but 8 years later, Pope Innocent's successor, Alexander VI, finally summoned von Trotha to papal court to be questioned about his loyalty to the church. Von Trotha refused to travel to Rome for the hearing, sending a letter to the Pope instead, acclaiming his own strong faith while accusing the Pope of various immoralities. This persuaded the Pope to excommunicate von Trotha from the church in the late 1490s. This is where history begins to differ from legend. After excommunication, von Trotha still did really well for himself. He retained his wealth and social standing. He even served in the French court and was given the Chevalier d'Or knighthood of France by King Louis XII. There's no record of von Trotha resorting to cannibalism, child hunting, pacts with the devil, or, sadly, dressing like a scarecrow. No dramatic divine punishment ended his life. He died quietly at home of natural causes on the 26th of October, 1503, at his Bergwarstein castle, the same one he feuded over for so many years. Following his death, all charges against him were even reversed. He still wasn't thought upon kindly by the locals, though. With his mortal demise, the legend of Hans Trapp, the Christmas Scarecrow, was born, and he even inspired another local legend. The Black Knight, a restless and formidable specter that was also sometimes said to accompany Santa Claus and punish children who were undeserving of gifts. But that's a story for another day. That's all I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed this story and will come back for more. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and bring your friends, family, COVID pod, cult members, invisible friends, or enemies. And if you have an interesting Christmas story to share, leave it in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching.